Okay, well tonight we're going to start in a comfortable seat. Ideally, you want to be able to feel your sit bones either on your heels or on the ground. So sit whichever way is most comfortable for you. And if you find that your back is unable to sit up, honouring its natural curves, then you can always grab a cushion and sit on a cushion just to give your hips a bit more space. So whatever makes sense for you. Got a bit of a theme of balance this evening, not necessarily just standing on one leg, but how we find balance from the feet up, how we find balance in our bodies, and also whether we feel balanced in heart and body and mind and all that other stuff too. So just take it easy with yourself. I'll give you choices the whole way through as normal, so just pick one that suits your practice. And we'll start just with a gentle closing of the eyes and a few moments just to check in on the breath and check in on how we're feeling this evening. So starting with the breath, just notice the quality of your breath this evening. Notice where the breath moves the body, the length of the inhale and the length of the exhale. Notice if you're breathing into your chest, your ribs and your belly, or one or the other. Whether the inhale and the exhale are even. And how the breath feels coming in and out of your body. Does it flow smoothly and easily? Or are there places where you're holding on to tension or the breath or body feels stuck? Just taking a few breaths to notice all of these things. Then take a moment to feel how the body feels, from the feet, ankles, shins and calves, all around the knees, the thighs and the back of the thighs, all around the hips, the pelvis, the belly, sides of the body and the lower back, the diaphragm, ribs and middle back, the collarbones, shoulders and upper back, the neck, the face and the whole of the head. Just scanning through the whole body, noticing any areas of tension, noticing how you feel this evening. Then gently flickering the eyes open. The breath we'll start with this evening. We start in a seated position with our arms in cactus. We inhale up through the fingertips. And as we exhale, we bring the elbows down and we imagine our sit bones really pressing into the ground. So inhale to stretch up. And then exhale, press those elbows down into the ground, press the sit bones into the ground. Inhale up. Exhale, press everything down into the ground or towards the ground. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Then bring the hands to the knees. We'll do a seated cat-cow. But as you inhale, stretch the chest forwards, really expanding the ribs. Then as you exhale, curve through the spine and roll through the shoulders. So inhale as you come forwards, really extending the chest and stretching that lower back. And then exhale, really curve through the upper back, pull the belly in, drop the head. Inhale as we come forwards, really stretching that chest. And exhale as we go back, really dropping the head. 3 more. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. Good. And coming back to center. This time, circling through the ribs. So, ideally, you want to be inhaling as the chest comes forward and exhaling as the chest goes back. Inhaling as you come forward and exhaling as you go back. And then take those circles in the other direction. Good. And then bring the torso back to stillness and sat up nice and tall. And then take your hands towards your shoulders with the elbows nice and high. Inhale nice and deeply. And then as you exhale, twist around towards the left. Trying to keep the arms in the same position. Inhale back to center. So we're twisting from our back, not our shoulders. And then exhale the other way. Doesn't matter how deep you go. It's about holding that shoulder position. Inhaling center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. Inhale center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. 2 more each way. Inhale center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. Inhale center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. Excellent. And coming back to the center, bringing the arms down by your sides. So I'll demonstrate the next one sideways because it's easier to see. So this time we're doing the breath with the hands and the elbows. So we start with our knuckles underneath our chin. And as we inhale, we bring our elbows as high as we can whilst trying to keep the shoulders relaxed. As we exhale, we look up and we sweep the elbows forwards until they touch. We're keeping the elbows high. So we inhale, the chin comes back to normal. We lift our elbows high. And then we exhale as we look up, pressing the fingers into the chin, touch the elbows together. So we'll do 6 of these. So nice big inhale. Inhale the elbows up. Exhale the elbows forward, keeping them high, lifting up. Inhale, open those elbows, bring them up to the sides of the head, chin level. Exhale, bring them forward. Elbows touch. Inhale, the chin comes back to level, the elbows go up, trying to match the length of the breath with the movement. Exhale, bring those elbows together. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then let the hands come back into the lap. So the next breath is connected with the eyes. So we bring our hands out in front of us and we look at our fingertips. As we inhale, we open our arms as wide as we can, really expanding through the chest. And as we exhale, we bring them back together again. Eyes look forward, but we're always looking for those fingertips. So inhale as you go and your arms come out to the side, the chest expands. And then exhale, bring those fingers back together again, keeping those eyes looking forward. Inhale, open the arms, expand the chest. Exhale, bring those fingers back together again. 3 more, noticing as the fingers leave your periphery vision. And then notice when you can see them again, as they come back into your field of vision. And then bring the hands back down to your lap again. So the last breath in this little series, we start with our hands at heart center. We inhale our arms up all the way above the head, tucking the chin in and having a pause once we're full. And then we exhale the hands out to the side in a great big circle of energy around us. So inhaling the arms up through center. At the top, tucking the chin, hold the breath. Exhale the arms out in a big circle of energy. Each time the pause will get a little longer, so this time inhale up. Tuck the chin back over the spine. Keep that breath in the body. Exhale the arms out to the side. Inhale the arms up. Tuck in the chin. Hold that breath. Exhale the arms out to the side. Inhale the arms up. Tuck in the chin, hold the breath. Exhale the arms down to the side. This is the last one, so hold your breath as long as you can. Okay, just a couple of rolls through the shoulders, really hunching them up and dragging them down the back. And take that in the other direction. That whole breath sequence is really good for balancing energy within the body. It's a good warm-up too. Then take one ear to one shoulder and just hang out there for a couple of breaths, feeling the stretch down the side of the neck. And then rolling that head nice and slowly around the front until we come to the other side. And then have a few breaths on the other side. Really feeling that stretch down the side of the neck. And then again, rolling that head all the way around the front to the start position. And then bring the head back up to center. Then interlace the fingers. Take the fingers around behind the head to the curve of the back of your skull. Drop your head or your chin all the way down to your chest. And then press your head up into your hands as you apply a little pressure with your hands to stretch down the back of the neck. One more breath here. Then release that off. Stretch wherever you feel like you need to stretch. If you feel like stretching out through the shoulders, or if you feel like stretching your arms behind the back, stretch wherever you feel you need. And then we'll come into tabletop. So any pressure in the knees, you can always fold over your yoga mat, or you can pop a cushion under the knee, whatever's most comfortable. And we'll start with a little balance. So really ground down through the knees, through the tops of the feet and through the hands. Hands slightly forward of our shoulders. And then really feeling the mat underneath your fingertips. Feel the temperature of the mat as your hand touches it. Also notice where you've got gaps between your hand and the mat. Then really grounding down through the left knee. Engage all of the core muscles before you even think about moving. And then raise the right toe. And keeping that strength in the body, then take the foot out behind you. Really pulling in through the core, pointing through the toe and engaging the muscles of the extended leg. So you're really, really strong in this balance. And then keeping that connection with the ground, keeping the right hand really firmly pressing into the mat, keeping the left knee really firmly pressing into the mat, and onto the fingertips of the left hand. And then pull the core in once more so it's really strong. And then take the left arm out in front of you. Really stretching the fingertips forward as much as you're stretching the toes back. Engaging the muscles in the arm, engaging the muscles all through your core to keep your balance. Keeping the neck nice and long so the head is in line with the spine. Nice big inhale here. Pull the core muscles in again and then exhale, elbow to knee with as much control as you can. Inhale the arm and the leg back out straight and then exhale, elbow to knee with as much strength as you can. Last one, inhale, stretch out through the fingers and the toes. Exhale, elbow to knee. And then inhale, stretch them out long. Pull those core muscles in again. Put the hand down, put the knee down, take the hips back and have 2 breaths in child's pose. Then come back up to tabletop. Really feel the mat again with your fingers, with your palms, with your thumbs. Notice which bits of your hands touch the ground. Then bring the awareness to your right leg, pressing into the floor with the right knee, the top of the right foot, maybe the shin, depending on the shapes of your bones. And then pull the core muscles in. Press the ground away so the shoulders are engaged. Lift the left toes up off the mat. And with strength throughout the whole of the body, take the left leg out behind you, engaging all the muscles in that leg, really pulling everything in, pointing the toes, finding your balance here, finding your strength. And then come onto the fingertips of the right hand. Again, pressing everything away with the left hand and the right knee. And then lift the right arm straight out in front of you, stretching through those fingers, engaging all the muscles in your arm and your leg that are extended. Really pull the core in, make your pose really strong. Take a nice big inhale and then exhale, elbow to knee with as much control as you can. Inhale to stretch back out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, really stretch, strong. Exhale, elbow to knee. Then inhale, really stretch, put the hand down, put the knee down, take the hips back towards the heels, and have 3 breaths in child's pose. Then coming back up into tabletop, really grounding down through the left knee and both hands. Lift the right toes up off the mat, pulling the core in, pressing the mat away so the shoulders are engaged. Take the right leg out behind you. And then drop the toes down towards the mat. So the toes are behind the toes of your left leg in a line. And then trying to keep in that line, open the hips up towards the ceiling and attempt, if you can, to bring your hand towards your hip. What will probably happen is your bottom leg will try and sneak back to give you a bit more stability. You can let it do that if you really need to, but try and keep it as straight with the mat as possible. If you're comfortable here and you want to take it further, you can lift that top arm up. And if you're still comfortable there, you can lift the back leg up to come into a side balance. And if you're really comfortable, you can lift your bottom toes up and fall flat on your face, or attempt to balance on your knee. Lots of options. If you've got the bottom toes raised, take them down. Then take the top toes down, and then take your hand back to the mat. Level out the hips and bring the knees back down, and we'll have a go on the other side, because one side will always be better than the other. So this time, hands slightly in front of your shoulders, really ground down through the right knee. Press the mat away so the shoulders are engaged. Take the left toes up off the floor, stretch them out behind you, cross them slightly, and then bring those toes down behind the toes of the right leg. Open your hips up to the side, and then take your left hand towards your hip. Making sure you have a strong point of focus is really important when you're doing balancing. So either look towards whatever device you're watching me on, or look down towards the floor. Depending on your anatomy, one will be easier than the other, whether you're looking to the side or you're looking to the floor. Once you've got your balance, you can take your top arm up to the ceiling if you want. You can also take your top leg up. Really pull the core in again. The stronger the core, the easier it is to balance. Squeezing those inner thighs towards one another. If you want to try and take the bottom toes up off the floor, you can try that too. Notice which side you find it more easy to balance on. Take the toes down, take the top toes down, bring the hand back to the mat, bring the knee back to the mat. Okay, well done. If you need to have a couple of breaths in child's pose, have a couple of breaths in child's pose. Otherwise, push up into downward dog and have a couple of breaths in downward dog. If you are in child's pose, tuck the toes under and press yourself up into downward facing dog, so we're all together. And then spread your fingers as wide as they will go and press down through the finger pads as well as the whole of the palm of the hand, pressing down through the thumb. Bend the knees and take the chest towards your thighs. So you have a nice long line from your wrists all the way up to your sit bones. Doesn't matter how bent your knees are, as long as you can honour the natural spine, the natural curves of your spine. You want to have a little bit of elasticity in this pose. If you straighten everything out too much, you become really rigid. And just have a little bit of bounce. And looking forwards, we'll tiptoe towards the front of the mat, coming up onto your fingertips if you need to. Grounding down through the feet, bending the knees a lot so that your upper body can hang over the tops of the legs. Just have a moment here to let the spine decompress. Let gravity help it lengthen down towards the floor, with the weight of the head pulling it down. Maybe nod the head, maybe shake the head to release any tension in the neck. With a nice big inhale. And on the exhale, press down through the mat with the feet and gently roll yourself all the way up to standing, with the head coming up last. And then really feel your feet on the mat. So without looking down at your body, maybe close your eyes. Feel your feet on the mat. Rock the weight into the balls of your feet and then rock the weight back to your heels. And then find somewhere in between the two where your weight is perfectly distributed. Then take your weight to the left and take your weight to the right. And then come to a place in the centre of the two where the weight is evenly distributed between the feet. Feel the ankles, the knees, and the hips all in line, one stacked neatly above the other. Have a play with the pelvis, tilt it to the back, tilt it to the front, and find a place somewhere in the middle which feels natural. Pull in and up through the core. So really focusing on all of those muscles around the belly, the side of the body, the lower back. Really pull them in towards the centre of the body to extend up out of the waist. Then roll the shoulders back and down the spine a couple of times and find where they naturally want to sit. And stack your head on top of that last. Keeping the eyes closed, open your palms towards the front of your mat. And really feel your body in complete balance, stood on the mat. Inhale the arms up above your head, making a Charlie's Angel gun by interlacing the fingers and letting the first finger go straight up towards the ceiling. Keep this balance in your body as you move your weight forward slightly into your toes and come up off of the heels, trying to keep the eyes closed, trying to feel the balance in your body. Maybe coming up a little higher as you get more comfortable, maybe not. Inhaling as you try to come up onto the toes. Exhaling as you go back down towards the mat. Really engage all of the muscles around your legs before you move to give you more support of where you're taking your body. Inhaling up onto those tiptoes and then exhaling down. And opening the eyes, have another go, coming up onto the tiptoes and then taking the heels back down towards the mat. Notice how much easier that is when we have a point of reference to focus on. The sight plays such an important part in our balance, looking where we're going and noticing our environment. So again, inhaling up onto the toes, exhaling the heels down to the mat. Inhaling up onto the toes, exhaling the heels down onto the mat. Last one. Inhale up onto the toes, exhale heels down onto the mat. Bringing the arms down by the sides. Well done. Okay, a little flowing flowing balance, balancing flow even. So nice big inhale, arms up above the head. And then exhale, bending the knees a lot to let the upper body rest on the thighs. Inhale to a halfway lift, nice long back. And then exhale, come back down into that forward fold. Taking the left leg back, really grounding down through that front leg. Inhaling the arms up above the head, and then exhaling the hands to heart center. Take the torso forward, so probably 70% of your weight is in the front leg. With a nice bent leg, engage the core, pull the inner thighs towards one another, and then gently come forward and lift off the back foot into warrior three. So our torso is forward, our left leg is pointing backwards like a capital letter T. Feel where your hips are, try and make sure that they're level. Take a nice big inhale here, take a bend in that front knee, and gently land and come back up to your crescent lunge legs. Excellent. Inhale the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale the hands down to frame the front foot and step that foot back to plank. Finding balance in your plank. Really stretch the heels away from you. Pull the core muscles in. Press the mat away so the shoulders are engaged. And then either bring your knees, your chest and your chin down towards the mat, or keeping the strength in your body, take the weight forward, bending the arms, come down to chaturanga. Then into cobra if you did knees, chest, chin, or up dog if you did chaturanga. Keeping that chest stretched forward, feeling the length down the front of the body. And then exhale, come back down to the mat. Tuck the toes, take the hips back towards the heels. And then push back up into a down dog. Right foot stays on the floor, left leg floats up. Bending at the knee, opening at the hip, into that lovely psoas stretch that we do so often. And then if you feel like testing your balance a little more, see if you can come onto the tiptoes of the right hand. Maybe even bringing that hand back towards the standing leg and holding on somewhere. If you're feeling really brave, maybe even going for a bind, trying to reach the toes behind you. Couple of breaths here. And then bring that hand back to the mat. Take the hips back to level and swing your left foot all the way through towards your hands, placing it down on the mat. And then step the other leg in to meet it. Inhale into a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, bending the knees. And then inhale, roll all the way back up to the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do 3 breaths here. Inhaling the arms up to the sides. Exhaling down through heart center. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling hands down through heart center. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling hands down. Okay, other side. Inhale up. Exhale, bend the knees a lot, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long back. And then exhale, forward fold. This time, take the right leg back. Rounding down through the feet, inhale the arms up. And then exhale, bring the hands to heart center. As before, take the shoulders forward. The majority of your weight is now going through the front leg. Take a nice big inhale, pulling in the core, pulling the inner thighs towards one another to really engage the deep core muscles. And then taking the weight even further forward, lift up off that back leg into Warrior Three. Feel that your hips are level. Feel that your back is long. See if you can know where your back leg is in time and space. Do you look like a capital letter T, or does your back leg need to raise slightly or come down slightly? Take a nice big inhale, really tighten everything. Engage that back leg, engage the core muscles. Really press down through the standing leg, then taking a bend in that knee, gently float the back leg down towards the mat and come back up with the hands at heart center. Good. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. And then step that foot back so we come back into plank. Again, get your balance in your plank. Really get the core muscles strong. Tuck the tailbone under. Press the mat away so the shoulders are engaged. Lengthen through the heels so the legs are as long and as straight as they can be. And then take the weight forward, keeping the elbows in. Come down through chaturanga, or do knees, chest, chin, and then come into your cobra or your up dog. Really engaging those legs, stretching the chest forward so you have a long line of energy down the front of the body. Then exhale, come down to the mat, tuck the toes, take the hips back towards the heels, and push up into your downward facing dog. On this side, it's the left foot that stays on the ground, and we float the right foot up, bending at the knee, opening at that hip, and finding the psoas stretch on this side. Then once you're comfortable in this stretch, maybe come onto the fingertips of the left hand. Maybe take those fingertips further back along the mat, adjusting if you need to. Maybe holding onto the left leg somewhere. Maybe even trying to reach for those back toes for the bind over your back. Kicking that top foot away if you do so. Whichever you've chosen, focus on that balance. One more breath. Then placing the hand back at the front of your mat. Swing the right leg behind your right wrist, the left foot behind your left wrist. And then bend the knees and allow your upper body to hang over the legs. Again, decompressing that spine. Letting the weight of the head stretch your back. Couple of breaths here. And take a nice big inhale. Press down through the mat with your feet. Engage the core muscles and squeeze the inner thighs as you start to roll yourself gently and slowly back up to standing. Good. One more little balancing series. If you need to hold on to something here, you can hold on to something. If you just want to put your hand just gently against a wall, just to give yourself a little bit of balance, and you can. Or you can try it with your hands on your hip, or maybe holding the back of the chair, whatever you feel most comfortable with. The first thing we do is ground down through the left foot. It'll make more sense if I did it that way around. So grounding down through the left foot, coming onto the toes of the right foot. We lift the knee up in front of us 3 times. Really think about putting everything in and up through the midline. Then straighten that leg and lift the leg nice and straight 3 times. Finding a point of focus so that you can balance. Then bring the toes back. We take the knee out to 45 degrees. And then we lift that knee up 3 times to the side. And then we straighten the leg and we lift it 3 times at 45 degrees. Then coming back to centre, so the foot touches down again. We keep the leg bent, we keep our shoulders above our hips. This is a very small movement. We take the bent leg back 3 times. And then we straighten that leg, so this is an even smaller movement, and we lift the straight leg 3 times. And then bring that foot back down to the mat. Really ground down through the right foot, coming onto the tiptoes of the left foot. We do the same series on the other side. So knee first, lifting that knee 3 times, keeping everything else controlled and still. Then once we've done the 3 times, take the leg long and lift it straight 3 times. Everything else really pulled in and strong. Take the knee to 45 degrees, 3 times. And then long, 3 times. Really squeezing everything in. And then take the foot to the back, 3 times with the bent leg. Keeping those shoulders above the hips. Then no leaning forward, keeping upright. And then with the straight leg 3 times. Excellent. Then come back to both feet on the mat. This time you can do whatever balance pose you like. It could be tree. You might fancy a little bit of low tree, or high tree, or Bikram tree. It's up to you. You might fancy a, whatever this one's called, standing fingers to toe pose or something like that. If you're doing this one, really, really concentrate on the standing leg. When you stretch out, that the standing leg is straight and it's not going like this, so that everything's bent over. You want the standing leg to be straight and the shoulders above the leg. You might want to balance some other way. You might want to balance on your hands in crow pose. That's entirely up to you. Excuse me. Do whichever balancing pose takes your fancy this evening. Good selection. And good work holding that core in. So come out of that side and go into the other side. So whichever pose you've chosen, really remember to pull everything into the midline. The tighter the body, the easier it is to balance. The more focused your drishti, so wherever your eyesight is looking, the more focused you are on that point, the easier it is to balance. Good stuff, guys. So really pull everything in and come back to standing. Excellent. And then we're going to come down onto our mats and balance on our bum. So start by really feeling your sit bones on the mat. Really feeling connected to the ground. And then find a place on your sit bones, because all of our sit bones are slightly different shapes, where you feel like you can balance. So for some of us it will be further back, for some of us it will be further forward. Holding on to our legs to start with, just finding that sweet spot where we can have our feet off the floor and we can still pull our bellies in and keep our backs nice and long. From here, stay holding your legs if you want to. If you want more of a challenge, you can bring your hands to the side. We will try and keep on this balance point while we lift one leg up to the ceiling and take it back down. Then we lift the other leg to the ceiling and take it back down. And then we lift both legs, trying to keep that balance, keeping a point of focus. Take both legs back down. Then keeping that balance, let go of the arms, raise one arm up, trying to keep that balance. Pull those core muscles in, really pull the inner thighs towards one another. Take that arm down, take the other arm up, bring it down. Take both arms up, bring it down. Now, you can either, we'll have a little rest there actually, I'll be kind. So, cross your legs and just have a little rest. So the last one we're going to do, you can either do your legs again, or you can do your arms again, or we'll try and do both. So if we're doing both, I'll just demonstrate for starters, so have a little rest. We start with our hands and our feet off the ground, finding our balance point. We do opposite arm, opposite leg, back down. Opposite arm, opposite leg, back down. Then we do same arm, same leg, same arm, same leg, both arms, both legs. And then we have a little rest. So it's entirely up to you. You can just do the arms and legs separately again if you like to, or we can try everything all together. The most important bit is finding that balance point on your bum and being able to maintain that balance. So we're really thinking about pulling the core in. We're really thinking about keeping those inner thighs engaged. So get yourselves ready, arms out, toes off the floor, on your balance point. Opposite arm, opposite leg, back down. Opposite arm, opposite leg, back down. Same arm, same leg, back down. Same arm, same leg, back down. Both arms, both legs. Pull everything in, back down. Cross your legs, lean forward over your legs and have a little rest. Well done, guys. Told you balancing wasn't all about standing on one leg. Sometimes it's about sitting on your bum too. Okay, we'll uncross our legs, bringing the feet down onto the mat. Tucking the bums under, arms out in front of you. Slowly roll that back all the way back down onto the mat. Arms out to the sides. So start by bringing the feet closer to the bum. Getting yourself nice and aligned on the mat so you're nice and long. First of all, take the right foot straight up to the ceiling. Toes pointed, leg engaged. And then you're really thinking about grounding down through your shoulders for balance on this one. And your left foot. Raise the hips straight up towards the ceiling. And have 5 little pulses at the top. Stretching those toes up. Squeeze the bum muscles together. Make the pose really strong. Grounding down through your shoulders, pressing the left foot onto the mat. And then roll that spine slowly, bone by bone, all the way back down. Take the right foot down. Ground down through that right foot. Take the left foot towards the ceiling. Pointed toe, engaged leg. Really ground down through the shoulders and the right foot. Pull the core in, pull the inner thigh muscles towards one another. And then lift the hips up into a one-legged bridge. Find your balance first, engage everything, and then do 5 little pulses on this leg. And then squeeze everything at the top. Make everything really strong. Squeeze the bum muscles, squeeze the inner thigh muscles. And then slowly roll the back down, bone by bone by bone, until the hips come down onto the floor. And then bring the foot back down onto the floor. Next pose, you've got a choice. You can either do a full bridge pose, bringing the hips up towards the ceiling, and then if you want to take the bind and roll onto your shoulders, you can take the bind of your fingers underneath you and roll onto your shoulders. Or you can stay in bridge pose. That's your first choice. The second choice is to roll your knees in and come up into a shoulder stand, keeping the head always still, really pressing down through the shoulders on the mat, supporting the back with the hands. So that's option 2. Option 3 is to come into plough pose, taking those toes down towards the floor, curling through the back and unraveling the arms so the palms come down to the mat. Entirely up to you. So bridge pose, shoulder stand, or plough. We'll have 5 breaths in this pose. If you're in bridge pose, I'll talk you out of it. If you're in plough pose, I'll talk you out of it. And if you're in shoulder stand, I will talk you out of it after we've done our 5 breaths. So gently come into whichever pose your body feels it needs this evening. And take your 5 breaths, keeping the core engaged, really grounding down through the parts of your body that are touching the mat. If you're in plough pose, gently take your hands to the backs of your thighs and roll yourself out of the pose. If you're in shoulder stand, gently bring your knees towards your forehead and then use your hands to support you as you roll out of the pose, keeping the head and the neck straight. If you're in bridge pose, gently undo the bind, unroll your shoulders, and roll the spine back down to the mat, bone by bone by bone. Then take the arms straight out from the shoulders, so like your arms are making a capital T with your body. And then lift your hips up and scoot them over to the right and drop them back down. Hug the knees into the chest so the feet come up off the floor, and then roll the knees over to the left, trying where possible to keep the shoulders grounded. And then completely relax into your twist for 10 deep breaths. You can either have your head relaxed, looking straight up towards the ceiling, or if it feels better on your neck, you can look out over your right shoulder. Then if it's not already, bring your head back to center. Take a nice big inhale, firm up all the core muscles, and on the exhale, roll the hip bones back down onto the mat, and then place the feet back on the mat. Straighten yourself back up, finding the feet parallel to one another, and then lift up the hips and shift them over to the left this time. Hugging the knees into the chest as close as you can. Roll the knees over towards the right. And then if you want to, look out over your left shoulder. Settle in this pose, taking 10 deep breaths. With each inhale, sending the breath deep into the body. And each exhale, releasing any areas of tension. And if you're looking over your shoulder, bring your head to center. Take a nice big inhale and firm up all those core muscles, squeezing the inner thighs towards one another. On the exhale, roll the hips back down onto the mat. Take the feet down onto the mat. Straighten up the body and then lengthen the legs and bring the arms by the sides to come into Savasana. Any pain in the lower back, you can always bring the feet to the mat and let the knees fall in towards one another. Make sure your tailbone is nice and comfortable. Make sure your shoulders are tucked underneath the body. Let the legs be really relaxed, heavy and relaxed on the mat. Let the arms be heavy and relaxed on the mat. Feel the weight of your head pressing into the mat as your neck has a well-deserved rest after carrying it around all day. And take our awareness back to our mindful check-in earlier. And start scanning the body again, looking for any areas of tension or stress. Hopefully some of them have vanished already, but if any areas remain, take the breath deep into that body part. And then as you exhale, try and release that tension away. Start by scanning from the feet, the toes, top of the foot, sole of the foot, heel, ankle, shin, calf, kneecap, back of the knee, thigh, back of the leg, hips, glutes, pelvis, belly, side body, lower back, chest, diaphragm, middle back, collarbones, shoulders, upper back, fingers, back of the palm, wrist, forearms, elbows, upper arms, neck, throat, face, ears, back of the head, crown of the head. Everything completely relaxed on your mat. And take your awareness back to the breath. Notice the ebb and flow of your unique breath. And see if that pattern differs at all from what you noticed at the start of class. Then allow that breath to come and go as it pleases for 10 breaths. And gently bring your awareness back to your body. Notice how it feels relaxed on your mat. And take that feeling with you into the rest of your evening. Start to think about moving the body in whatever way it wants to move. Maybe just wiggling fingers and toes to start with. Maybe making some bigger movements. Whatever your body craves this evening, move in that way. And then when you're ready, roll over onto your side and come up to seated. Thank you for practicing with me this evening. I hope you're feeling more balanced. I certainly am. And I hope to see you on your mat again soon.